This is Matt Russell, and welcome to the Daily FX Forum.
So here are the 5 pairs that I will be discussing this evening: the Euro Pound, the Aussie Kiwi, the Pound Swiss, the Euro Swiss, as well as the Euro Aussie. So let's go ahead and pull up the charts. First chart is the Euro Pound. You should still all be in this trade again, which is short from 88.23 with a stop at 88.75. I would just continue to stay in this trade, and again, it's a longer term trade, so I know I keep on repeating myself, but that 88.40 area should be stiff resistance over the next several weeks and months. The next chart is the Aussie Kiwi, and as I mentioned yesterday, we covered the short trade from 127 at 125.10. I mentioned yesterday, as prices were beneath this former support line, that it might act as resistance, but I wanted to give it another day because I thought there might be a spike back upwards, and that's exactly what did occur. I'm glad I waited that extra day, and we can see prices are back well above the support line here. So moving forward now, I still like this resistance line here, but again, I'm just going to give it another day or so because this does look pretty impulsive, and prices have broke above this area over here, which might have formed a head and shoulder pattern, but we can see obviously the right shoulder has been violated, and I don't like the right shoulder to be violated by more than just a few pips. So again, I'm just going to stay on the sidelines here and update during tomorrow's report. The next chart is the Pound Swiss, and again, you should still be in this trade if you were listening. I believe it was 4 reports back when I mentioned the 2 price levels, 70.25 and 70.35. Again, prices came up to 70.30, so you might be in this trade. The one thing I would change now, the stop was at 71.25. I would actually move that down to 70.75. The next chart is the Euro Swiss, and as I've been mentioning for the past several reports, a long entry at 46.90 with a stop at 46.30. Prices reversed a little bit after hitting the 147.50 area, and right now about 147.07, so 17 pips away from a possible entry, so I'd certainly put those orders in there and see if they get triggered during the next 24 hours. The next chart is the Euro Aussie, and as I've been mentioning during the past several reports, looking for prices to come up and test the longer-term resistance line here, as well as the horizontal resistance line, which was former support, and then we had the breakout. As I mentioned during yesterday's report, a short entry at 159 with a stop at 160. I'd actually move that down a little bit now, so it would be short at 158.75 with a stop. Keep it at that figure at 160. So again, that would be short 158.75 with a stop at 160. Again, my name is Matt Russell. Thanks for listening, and please stay tuned for a preview of the Daily FX Forums. I want to take this opportunity to formally welcome you all to the Daily FX Forums. I want to go through the process of how I personally access the forums and how maybe you at home, if you want to access the forums in the future, might do so. The first thing you would do is go to www.dailyfx.com, and that will bring up, obviously, dailyfx.com, and usually there on the upper right hand corner I'll go ahead and click on where it says forum, and that will bring up the first page of the forums. And this view, I personally don't use this view, but this view actually shows you the most recent posts on all the threads within the different sections, and a little detail about those posts, so you can read through and see if there's something catches your interest. But personally, I go ahead and just click on forums and view them in the more traditional sense. Now, these are different threads within the forum. There's a section on education, such as Daily FX course instructor tips, which would be good for newer traders, and then for more advanced traders. And I just want to go ahead, personally, the way I use the forums is I would go through the individual threads, just looking for trade ideas, maybe looking at charts, looking at certain lines that maybe I didn't put up on my chart, but another trader might have put up on their chart. I tend to, shy away from using direct trade recommendations from other forum members, but it helps me to sort of even out my analysis, make sure that I'm seeing things, with the right mind in terms of, I might be missing stuff that other traders can see, and that's my personal way of using the forum. Every trader is going to be a little bit different in how they use it. So if you want to ask questions, if you want to become an active participant of the members, you would have to go ahead and register. So that's what I'm going to go through now, is the registration process. So assuming you're brand new to the forums, or maybe you've been here a few times and you're not really sure how it works, so I just want to walk through again the registration process. This would be the front page where you would access, or the previous page. You'd have the same little box here on the left hand side. My username and password are already filled out here, but assuming you're a new member, you would click on where it says register, and that will bring up the registration page. If you give me one moment here while my browser loads. And actually first we're going to have some terms of service and DailyFX forum rules. I do suggest reading through the forum rules. Obviously, you know, profanity and spam and things like that are not allowed, but it also gives you insight on, you know, how to use the forum and how different traders can use it, you know, in terms of their individual needs. So you would go down to the bottom there, you'd click on where it says I have read all the rules, and then you would go ahead to the register, the formal registration page, and that will bring up here. And you can go ahead and select the username, and how about we'll use 4x, and that name is already in use, so maybe add a few more x's there. Again, it really, you know, your individual username is up to you, and you go ahead and fill in your password, your email address. Now, the most difficult aspect of registration for the DailyFX forums will be figuring out these letters in the box here. Now, I'm a semi-intelligent person, but I have a very difficult time figuring out which letters and numbers to use. Now, there is a reason for this madness. It helps with security, but I would suggest just going ahead and keep on clicking that refresh image until something comes through that you can actually identify and see. Then you can go ahead and enter your birthday, but you can decide whether or not to display that to other forum members. And then also, if you were referred by somebody, you can enter that information there. The time zone, that should default to your computer, but you should, you know, double check and make sure. And then you can opt in, and I would, you know, suggest opting in for these emails in terms if the administrators want to go ahead and send you some notices about the forum, and then you would complete registration. Now what happens is they would send you an email to the email address that you put up here, and that email will include a link, and all you would have to do is go ahead and click on that link, and that link will bring you inside the forum, and you would now be a member of the DailyFX forums. Again, this is Matt Russell. Thanks for listening.